equity and fairness prevails in governance.
Financial autonomy. President Buhari asks state legislature to make formal presentation to the presidency.
The National Assembly, particularly the Senate, will be mounting a lot of oversight on the revenue generating agencies.
Senate passes finance bill as reps probe non-performing privatized companies. Nigeria gives momentum to international campaign to end trade in donkeys.
I think the citizens should support it, especially for trial of serious cases like corruption, kidnapping, terrorism.
And Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption proposes jury system in Nigeria. A lovely evening to you and welcome to the news on the network service of the NTA. I'm Joseph Johnson. Dotun Ogunyemi in Lagos is reading with me tonight. Now let's begin by telling you that the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria has been directed to make a formal presentation to the presidency on areas of concern regarding the implementation of the financial autonomy granted state assemblies and state judiciary by the Constitution for necessary action. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the directive while granting audience to the chairman and members of the conference, maintains that equity and fairness must prevail in governance. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has details.
Members of the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria were led to the State House by their chairman, Mudashiru Obasa of the Lagos State Assembly. Their mission to show appreciation to the President for assenting to the Fourth Alteration Act of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which granted financial autonomy to both the state parliaments and judiciary. That singular act, according to them, was a clear demonstration of President Buhari's strong passion for an independent legislature as an essential ingredient for good governance in the country. Mr. Obasa, however, alerted the President that the objectives of the constitutional provision are yet to be fully achieved and called for his intervention.
We therefore humbly call on Mr. President to issue an executive order mandating the Accountant General of the Federation to deduct allocation for the state legislature and state judiciary from source during Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting of any state of the Federation that fails to release the budget of the state legislature and judiciary to them in line with the financial autonomy guaranteed by provision of Section 1213 of 1999 Constitution.
The state lawmakers used the opportunity to, amongst others, commend the President for his doggedness and determination towards stamping out corruption and all kinds of criminal behaviors in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the engagement with the leadership of the state assemblies, saying he is now better informed, especially on issues relating to the implementation of the autonomy granted them and the judiciary.
I try to be as loyal as humanly possible to the Constitution. Please make a formal written submission to my office to ensure it receives the most appropriate attention. I also want to assure you that we remain committed to ensuring that equity and fairness prevails in governance.
The President promised to periodically consult the Conference of State Assembly Speakers towards enhancing democracy, strengthening its institutions, and positively impacting government interventions across Nigeria.
As you are aware, the focus of this government is to ensure collective prosperity for our citizens through the provision of jobs and security and economic opportunity while eliminating corruption in public service.
Already, President Buhari said his administration has started restoring the nation's critical infrastructure to levels that the nation desires, while allocating significant resources to key social services sectors, especially in health, education, as well as empowerment programs. From the State House, Musambo, NTA News.
While President Muhammadu Buhari is urging the re-elected governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to ensure that his second term in office is more eventful and result-oriented as a reciprocal gesture for the renewed trust and confidence of the people in his administration. This was while granting audience to the governor for the first time since the renewal of his mandate. Again, State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the report.
Still basking in the euphoria of his overwhelming governorship elections victory, Governor Yahaya Bello was accompanied to the State House by APC National Chairman Adams Oshomole to formally present his certificate of return to the president.
Under your leadership, we are scoring the first, the second is 2/2. Yeah. So I would believe that the next one that are coming is going to be like that. Well, congratulations to the challenge this time. Thank you very much.
President Muhammadu Buhari said much more in terms of democracy dividends is expected from him by the people of Kogi State. Such, he emphasized, must be given to them in return for their renewed trust and confidence in the governing APC, as explained at a media briefing by party chairman Adams Oshomole.
I was happy to see his certificate, and like all of us, he has encouraged us to recognize that the word for hard work, as they say, is more work. And I'm sure Governor Yahaya Bello, having passed the learning curve, is going to approach his second term with all the vigor, with eye for posterity and legacy marks in the development of Kogi State. Governor Bello will give his all.
Governor Yahaya Bello told newsmen that he is not unmindful of public expectations and the challenges ahead, but promised not to disappoint.
We have a lot of tasks ahead of us. The journey has just begun. I need the cooperation and understanding of every citizen and resident of Kogi State to join hands with me in this next level so that we can together do more for our state.
The governor attributed his landslide victory to the resolve by the people of the confluent state not to allow ethnicity to becloud their sense of reasoning, judgment, and focus. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still talking about electoral victory, the Independent National Electoral Commission has presented certificates of return to the governor-elect of Bayelsa State, Chief David Leon, and the member representing Brass Constituency 1 in the State House of Assembly, Dr. Daniel Charles. Details will be brought to you in a subsequent bulletin. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged security agencies and communities under threats of bandits' attacks and kidnappings to be more vigilant and alert in the light of the latest incidents in Enugu, Zamfara, Adamawa, Katsina and Kaduna states. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media Publicity, Garba Shehu says the President observed that the unpredictability of the security situation calls for all to be more alert. President Buhari says bandits should under no circumstances be allowed to hold the country to ransom on account of security loopholes, which they seek to exploit to strike at their victims. The President urged all communities to help security agencies with intelligence in order to stop the bandits in their tracks. The President commended security agencies for their dedication and sacrifices and directed them to redouble their efforts and make life uncomfortable for the bandits. Now, a sum of 24 billion naira in total comprehensive income was made in the first 6 months of 2019 by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. And the group, in its presentation at the National Economic Council meeting, says under the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, it intends to complete the second Niger Bridge, the Abuja to Kano Highway, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and the Mambila Power Project. The projects are to cost 2.5 trillion naira, while Council resolved to invest an additional $250 million to the Sovereign Investment Authority and also constitute a committee to consider how a portion of the pension fund can also be leveraged into investment for the NSIA. Let's go to the National Assembly now. Ahead of the planned passage of the 2020 appropriation bill by the Senate on the 28th of November this year, the Senate has passed the Finance Bill 2019, which is expected to expand Nigeria's tax revenue in the 2020 budget. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the bill has 56 clauses and seeks to amend 6 tax laws in Nigeria.
On the 6th of this month, the Senate passed the second reading of the finance bill presented by the executive and referred it to its Committee on Finance for scrutiny. 15 days after the referral, the committee has concluded public hearing on the bill. Its reports presented and considered.
The executive should be encouraged to propose to the National Assembly the finance bill to support the fiscal policies of the annual budget and should also sustain the initiative on an annual tradition.
The major problem of the Nigerian economy is revenue. I'm happy that in these taxes that we are even looking at, it is not targeted at the downtrodden.
The executive bill with 5 strategic objectives primarily seeks to increase revenue generation through tax reforms to fund the federal government's revenue projection of 8.1 trillion naira in the 2020 appropriation bill, block leakages arising from inefficient and ineffective tax incentives, and expand tax-exempt items. The proposal also seeks to increase VAT from 5 to 7.5%, extend stamp duties to electronic receipts, and amend the insurance taxation rules aimed at creating a level playing field for insurance companies, introduce tax rules to capture digital economy and services rendered offshore.
This is about our economy, and if you are an operator of this economy, you will see that we are paying less tax in all fronts for the purpose of gathering the necessary funds to fund our needs to develop our country.
The National Assembly, particularly the Senate, will be mounting a lot of oversight on revenue generating agencies.
Acting Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akwashiki Godia, speaks on the bill process.
Every amendment went through the due process, inviting public hearing.
Meanwhile, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, granted audience to the Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption, during which the committee appealed for speedy passage of anti-corruption bills, especially the Special Crimes Court Bill, and the confirmation of the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu.
In fact, we are in a haste. If those bills are ready, for us to start working on them, for the confirmation of the chairman, acting chairman of EFCC. This is a new Senate, and therefore, until there is a request to this Senate, there is nothing the Senate can do.
Senator Lawan also granted audience to a delegation from the Arewa Consultative Forum from the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And the House of Representatives is to launch an investigation into privatized government companies whose performance have fallen short of expectations. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports. We've just been told that report is not ready at the moment, but let's just take a break now. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Do stay with us. You're watching NTA Network News. Thanks for staying with us. Now let's just take you back to our earlier story in which we told you that the House of Representatives is to launch an investigation into privatized government companies whose performance have fallen short of expectations. Let's get the report from the National Assembly correspondent, Lami Ali.
The decision by House members followed a motion from Aussie Prestige, which highlighted the dismal performance of some privatized government companies, in particular the power sector.
The reason for the privatization to most of these particular areas have really not been achieved. The federal government still has 40% equity shareholding in this discourse. So it is not out of place for us to have a look at them.
Also to be investigated by the House are the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation on the current status of Savannah Bank as moved by Magaji Aliyu.
Of the depositors whose funds were trapped in the bank for the first 17 years are either dead, bankrupt, or in dire hardship after many years of depression and discontentment.
Other resolutions passed at plenary include carrying out an investigation on a contract said to have been awarded in 2017 by the Federal Ministry of Transport through the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency worth more than $195 million for the supply of security and surveillance equipment at ports, tabled by Benjamin Kalu, and the motion from Ifeanyi Moma calling for an investigation on the millions of dollars spent in the last 4 years on turnaround maintenance of the nation's 3 refineries.
The huge cost of undertaking the turnaround maintenance of the refineries, which despite all the expenses have remained comatose, leaving the country dependent on importation of refined petroleum products for its domestic consumption.
Plenary featured the swearing-in of Doze Nwanko of the All Progressives Grand Alliance as House member representing Anocha Ndukofia Federal Constituency, having won his case as the appeal court. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Nigerians who may be having fears of embarking on a road journey to spend the Yuletide season with family and friends may not need to worry anymore, because the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has directed contractors to effectively utilize the dry season for roads construction and immediate repairs of bad sections of some roads across the country. Correspondent reports that the ministry, in partnership with FRSC, are meeting with federal contractors and controllers in Abuja to identify and remedy the affected areas. These people may be physically seated in this hall, but their minds and thoughts are all running through Nigerian roads. Safety on the roads during the Yuletide season, popularly called Ember Months, is the reason they are gathered here at the instance of the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola. As he cross-examines the identified deplorable spots, the contractors took turns to present their plans for the Ember Months. The Minister has these directives for them.
Not just construction, repair. Get somebody good video and just send them to us as updates in flash drives. Okay? So always send a copy to my office, a copy to him. All the contractors, is that okay? So we'll start receiving it, maybe weekly update for every fortnight, 2 weeks from now. And sometimes also it's important to get interviews with the people who are using the road.
Even the road sheriff, Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi, also had something to take home, clamping down on ineligible drivers from the 1st of December.
Minister has directed that where there's no contractor and there's a need for appropriate road signs, we should do this. And we send the bill to the ministry, so we're going to hit the ground immediately and make sure that since we have done the road safety audit, we produce these road signs, work with the federal controllers in those states and ensure this is installed.
While all these are going on, the public is also expected to play its part to collectively have safer roads. Let's turn to the judiciary now, where Kano State High Court, presided over by Justice Usman Naaba, has sacked the 4 additional emirate councils created by Governor Umar Ganduje administration, saying the State Assembly had violated the provision of Section 101 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Awal Salisu reports.
The Kano State High Court has sacked the 4 new emirate councils, citing that the State House of Assembly had violated the provision of Section 101 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which allows the Assembly to make laws. Presiding Judge Justice Usman Naaba then declared that the law creating the emirates was null and void. One of the plaintiffs, Rabiu Gorzo, who is a member of Kano State House of Assembly, in his prayers, faulted the decision of the House to establish additional emirates in the state.
In summary, the reason for the nullification was simply that the House of Assembly is supposed to make rules pursuant to Section 101 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they are bound to follow their rules. They did not follow their rules.
You know, it will be highly unethical for me to analyze the judgment. The media just resented it, so I will reserve my comment.
It will be recalled that on 8th of May this year, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje assented the law establishing 4 additional emirates with first-class emirs in Bichi, Rano, Karai, and Gaya. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Kano State government says despite the ruling, the government still recognizes the new emirs as first class and will continue dealing with them. A statement signed by Kano State Commissioner of Information, Muhammad Garba, says the government in the state is studying the ruling for further action and asked the people of the state to remain calm and law-abiding. The increasing demand for donkey skin used for traditional medicine is set to drastically affect its population and even threatening to lead into its extinction. An international campaign to halt the trade in donkeys is gaining momentum, with Nigeria's House of Representatives enacting law prohibiting killing and export of donkey until properly regulated. Benny Adams reports from a meeting where these issues were discussed thoroughly.
For centuries, donkeys have been used for domestic purposes in rural communities, cutting across social and economic sectors. This led to the saying that if you don't have a donkey, you are the donkey. While trading donkeys has been an old venture, the rate of demand for them is to have multiplied in many folds due to demand from Far East Asia. Consequently, 4.8 million donkey skins are required annually, with the area only meeting 1.8 million skins. The advocacy in Nigeria by this group, Donkey Sanctuary, is aimed at protecting the socio-economic and well-being of the rural communities, who depend on donkeys for socio-economic activities.
They need to find 3 million a year for this traditional Chinese remedy.
Its propensity to generate transborder animal diseases is so high and calls for an emergency in Nigeria.
And that is why we think we need to see a region-wide action from ECOWAS to stop the trade going through its borders all over the place, so not just here in Nigeria.
And just as this meeting is about to take place, the House of Representatives had 24 hours earlier passed the bill that suits the purpose.
Even for agricultural purposes, we know the role donkey plays.
The signing of the bill into law, this meeting believes, has put Nigeria, which is a major donkey producer, in the forefront of preventing the extinction of this beast of burden that man has relied on for centuries. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The Administration of Criminal Justice in Nigeria is taking a leap forward with the proposition for the introduction of jury service into the nation's judiciary. Deborah Bola was at a roundtable review of the proposed bill by the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption and the Jury Movement in Abuja, seeking the proposition of jury service bill.
The judicial system, among others, entails the incorporation of adversary citizens into legal system in the determination of cases before the court. In this instance, the jury guides the judge in taking objective decision by examining the presented fact from multiple views, making it the people's court.
Situation in which you have 12 men of reasonable background, in the sense that they are people who represent strata of community, who have a sense of fairness and justice.
For us who are supporting this government in the fight against corruption, all options are on the table.
I think the citizens should support it, especially for trial of serious cases like corruption, kidnapping, terrorism, and some kind of heinous crimes like rape and other sexual violence.
Seated here are the experts who review the proposed bill for jury system in Nigeria and are optimistic that its introduction will not only enhance integrity of justice administration in the country, but also fast-track justice dispensation. However, this participant has contrary opinion.
I believe that we don't need it.
Whatever the views are, there is the belief that the harmonization of the proposed bill will open a new vista in the country's judiciary. Deborah Agbola, NTA News.
The in-country periodic depot maintenance of Nigerian Air Force aircraft, which commenced in 2018, has reached an advanced stage at the 407 Air Combat Training Group, Kainji. Correspondent Najat Tijani has details of what this means for national security.
This is the Alpha Jet, one of many currently undergoing maintenance here at the Nigerian Air Force Base in Kainji. It has just gotten an upgrade, making it more formidable as one of the aircraft at the forefront of military operations in northeastern Nigeria. Previously done abroad, the in-country periodic depot maintenance is now saving costs, among other benefits.
Well, the upgrades will make the aircraft more effective. It will make it easier for the pilots to really utilize the aircraft for the missions assigned to them. What is interesting about all this is that we are doing it within Nigeria. Major components of the aircraft that we cannot do anything about here, we send those ones outside. And some of them have just come back. You can see the wings now are building the required capacity. That is saving us a lot of money. Because if you are to airfreight this out of Nigeria, you'll have to pay for the aircraft coming to pick all those things.
These, the Nigerian Air Force says, have contributed to raising the service status of operable aircraft from about 36% in 2015 to between 78 and 82%. Najat Tijani, NTA News.
Well, let's just take a breather here as we join Dotun in a Lagos zone for more reports from there. Dotun.
Thank you, Joseph, and welcome to Lagos. Physical and mental well-being remain critical to human capacity development and production. Giving priority to this, the Nigerian Army, as part of activities of the ongoing exercise Crocodile Smile 4, organized a medical outreach for residents of Takwa Bay. Stanley Menz is among hundreds of locals who resides on the island of Takwa Bay. For him and other residents, medical issues are a bit of a luxury, as there is only one medical center that caters for their need.
Look at most of us here, we don't have money to afford the hospitals and every other thing. We don't have any hospitals here, and they bring this free care to us. It's a big one. We are very, very grateful to the Nigerian Army.
The medical outreach reflects on the social responsibility of the Army and its duty to protecting lives.
Part of our program includes we check their vital signs and treat common ailments. Then apart from that, we also take care of their dental complaints. We also do eye examination, followed by giving of free eyeglasses. And most of the patients that came are usually the elderly ones, and they've been benefited. As of now, we've given up close to 357 eyeglasses.
In addition to this, was also an educational outreach to 2 schools in the community.
They have come here to stretch their hands of goodwill to our students. It's a good thing. We really appreciate the gesture by the Nigerian Army by giving us exercise books for our children.
Exercise Crocodile Smile 4 is scheduled to end on the 23rd of December. And now let's talk economy. If West African countries are to change their economy narrative beyond politics, harnessing the individual potential of Africa's human capital is the most sustainable key to economic transformation and social progress in the sub-region. Former President of Ghana, John Mahama, stated this at a forum in Lagos. Ken Beluge has details.
Development Bank report indicates that the number of youths will double to 850 million by 2050. And nearly 38% of youth in sub-Saharan Africa want to move permanently to another country. To stop this trend, the former president of Ghana, John Mahama, suggested that West African leaders must take proactive measures by developing economic models that will address the needs of youths in the region.
We must grow our small and medium enterprises and blue-collar labor. SMEs and middle-level blue-collar manpower has been the main driver of growth in middle-income Latin American and Asian economies. This means that our educational curriculum must be rejigged to produce the skilled human resources to drive this sector forward.
Other speakers strongly believe that sustainable economic blueprint will fast-track economic development in the region.
we need to give more emphasis to honesty, integrity, and service to society, performance, result orientation, transparency, and accountability. We need to instill this sense of common destiny that will guide us in this direction.
We should not at this time be carrying our goods by road to distribute them. We should have very good rail system.
But Africa has to wake up and make sure that they do things in a proper way.
It was generally agreed that free movement of goods and services within the sub-region should be encouraged for economic growth. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge.
All roads led to Lagos State, Nigeria, the host city of 2019 All African Music Awards, AFRIMA, the continent's biggest music event, with the theme Fill Africa. Imolia Yotokede reports that the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority declared the ceremony open.
Music stars and key players in the creative industry from various parts of Africa converged on Lagos for the 6th edition of the All Africa Music Awards, which seeks to celebrate and reward musical works, talent, and creativity around the African continent. The 4-day event, which will feature about 70 artists, started with the welcome party, a reception in honor of arriving AFRIMA nominees and delegates, African Union officials, and members of the International Committee of the Awards.
What we do in AFRIMA is to try and put all these new talents on the platform, to shine a spotlight on them, not only to help push their careers, but also to help them get started, to help them create that economic power base.
Thousands of people are here. They will stay in the hotel, they will buy food, they will eat, they will go to the market, and they will experience Lagos and promote the destination Lagos and destination Nigeria. So you can imagine from expedition point of view, the GDP increases.
The Minister of Information and Culture, represented by the Director General of the NTA, urged participants to create time and explore Nigeria.
I want to commend the organizers for a job well done. Putting together an event of this magnitude is no mean feat. And on this note, on behalf of the Honourable Minister, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, I declare this year's AFRIMA open.
In Lagos, Imolia Yotokide, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after this time out. Please stay tuned.
Network News, and we are back in Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates Nigerian entrepreneur Temi Giwa Tobosun, inaugural winner of the Africa Business Hero Award, founded by renowned Chinese technology entrepreneur Jack Ma. The award, accompanied by a cash prize of $250,000, is only the latest in a series of inspiring wins by Giwa Tobosun in recent years. In a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, says the president acknowledges the huge impact Life Bank has made in a relatively short time. President Buhari reiterates the commitment of his administration to creating the right environment for business and innovation to thrive in the country. President Buhari urges Nigerian youths to emulate Giwa Tobosun's can-do spirit and problem-solving approach, as well as her firm belief in the potential of her fatherland. Ojo Oluwatobi Samuel from Ogun State has emerged the NNPC 2019 Science Quiz Competition champion. He defeated 17 other zonal champions to snatch the trophy at the grand finale in Abuja. Lydia Sampson reports that dignitaries at the occasion applauded the students, reiterating their faith for a greater Nigeria.
You are correct. You are correct. Ogun State. Question number 14. Question number 14. What is the most probable oxidation number of an element with atomic number 9? C-1. You are very correct. Round of applause to him.
A keen contest showcasing 18 champions drawn from the zones after vigorously going through the competition from the local government level.
I want to become an electrical engineer. I'm short of words now.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources Temi Silva and the guest of honor Aliko Dangote commended the innovation and sustenance of the competition.
Truth be told, This is a worthy initiative. It provides an opportunity to sharpen the target audience's intellect, get them socialized, and build some noble sense of nationalism.
The future belongs to you all, so we expect quite a lot from you.
For these critical stakeholders, investing in education is a win-win, as the human resource will in turn drive infrastructural development.
This country will go places, this country will go to the next level. Thank you.
The young at the level of ingenuity, and they're giving them the required impetus.
There's a lot of exposure to our youth, to our kids, and make them excel.
The key players are optimistic that the intelligent display by the competitors will change the future narrative of science and technology in Nigeria. Ojo Oluwatobi Samuel, as well as the second and third place winners, will enjoy NNPC scholarships in their tertiary education. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
The Department of Petroleum Resources has launched a new digital measuring can that will determine over or under dispensing of fuel in filling stations. Hadiza Muhammad Ali reports that during an operation, the department also sealed off 5 illegal fuel transloading points in Kano.
The launch of the digital quantity measuring device known as Seraphine Can, an on-spot fuel quality analyzer, is part of steps to ensure that consumers get the exact quantity of products from petrol station operators. It is to also ensure that the products meet the state quality specification. During an operation to ensure strict compliance, 2 illegal transloading points in Hotoro Limawa area, 2 unauthorized production center for adulterating petroleum products at Laraban Abasawa, as well as 1 illegal diesel depot at Hadeja Road residential area were sealed off.
And this location is not known to DPR, and I don't think it's known to even the state government. So therefore, since it is a petroleum product, DPR has every right to find out whether it's a licensed facility or environment for storage and processing of what is going on here.
Later, stakeholders workshop and public awareness campaign on safe handling of petroleum products and launching of Almanac was held at the Hotoro NNPC mega station.
Me as a safety officer, it energized me to carry on with what I have been doing in the whole of safety aspects.
There are things that you don't know. With this workshop, you know them because you see them, you touch them.
The DPR pledges commitment to work with all relevant stakeholders toward ensuring best practices in the downstream sector. In Kano, Hadiza Muhammad Ali, NTA News.
Well, let's just take you back to our earlier report, which we told you that a sum of 24 billion naira in total comprehensive income was made in the first 6 months of 2019 by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. That's talking about NEC meeting. Let's now join Jide Onifade as he takes us through other deliberations at the council's meeting.
So many issues for the day, and one after the other, the issues were attended to by the council. For example, a memorandum on the solid minerals sector, stressing the need for improved synergy between the federal government and the state governments. Minister of Solid Minerals and Steel Development, Olamilekun Adigbite, presented the memorandum in relation to fiscal governance of the solid minerals sector and seek council's support on the need to respect the provisions of the Constitution and the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2007. Governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, briefed the press on these requests.
There should be a full-time engagement of the communities to avoid mistakes made in the oil sector. In summary, the Governor of Ekiti State, Chairman of the Governors Forum NGF, shall constitute an ad hoc committee involving governors to engage with the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel to find ways of addressing all the issues.
Managing Director of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, Uche Oji, gives an update on the transactions of the authority in 2018 and part of 2019.
NSIA and its group made a profit total of 44
12.3 billion naira in 2018. And so far, in 2019, as at the first 6 months of 2019 for the period ending June 30th, the NSIA updated the council that they have made 24 billion naira of profits so far.
Another business of the day, the council resolved to constitute an ad hoc committee with Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State as chairman and governors of the 6 geopolitical zones who are currently serving in the board of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company to review the status of the ownership structure of the power distribution companies. Representatives from the National Council on Privatization and the Bureau of Public Enterprises will also form part of the ad hoc committee. Imo State Governor Emeka Ihedioha briefed the press on this and updates on the nation's accounts.
Only one excess crude account balance as at 20th November 2019 stands at 329,539,031.51.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo equally briefed the council on the progress on single window steering committee and the Apapa traffic task team. Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State is also to join the team. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NT News.
A 3-month intelligence and sting operation by the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency in Zone 4, Abuja, has revealed that the bulk of drugs peddlers in Zone 4 come from 2 states of the country. Francis Fom reports that chairman of the NDLEA disclosed this when officials of Zone 4 community visited him. As he said, already the agency is discussing with the governors concerned states.
This is Zone 4, Abuja. Known for 3 things: the road exchange for exchange of foreign and local currencies, all-night market, and red zone, where drugs and women peddled. These activities have made Zone 4 notorious and crime-prone. To reach the area of drug mess that has threatened safety and legitimate business activities around the area, the NDLEA deployed a special squad for round-the-clock intelligence gathering and sting operations that has lasted for 3 months, an operation that has brought relief to businesses and residents who visited the agency for appreciation.
Let us continue, because when the personnel were stationed in our place for about 3 months, we recorded tremendous success.
The NDLEA explains that the operation has led to the seizure of 75,196 kilograms of various substances and 63 cartons containing 5,161 bottles of codeine.
I promised you before that we'll put a particular post there 24 hours a day. We will do that. And it will be the beginning of reading at least the FCT of miscreants that deal in drugs.
About 20,000 fake US dollars were also said to have been recovered during the operation. In Abuja, Francis Fom, NTA News.
Do stay with us here on NTA Network News. I'm back in a moment.